was Ari. I just want to take a nap. Thank you. Hey, good morning, everyone. Top of the morning, salutations, greetings, all that. Thank you for being here. Thank you for, I think you made the right decision to come and be with us here and others. We're all seeking this personal spiritual experience. Some of us, most of us, some of us are just curious. They're just checking us out, wondering about this sweet little house of faith out here, tucked away on the hillside of High Street Hill, the corner of High Street and Pleasant Surprise Lane, right down here. Oh, we have some good music planned for us. We have Ari and Peter here. Yeah. And we have an amazing message for this morning. Ooh, wow. Amazing message. Reverend Julie, she's going to be blessing us with her own unique way of sharing and revealing information for that message that's coming. But first, let's check in and just see if anybody's visiting for the very first time. If you are, we want to say to you, welcome. Yes, there's a hand right here. And we have a little information packet there. If you're visiting us for the very first time, we always like to say, and right there might be someone, yeah, Summer, okay. I like to say that if you're here for your very first time, it doesn't matter what spiritual path that you may be on or not, you're welcome. We hope you like what you see. We hope you like what you hear. We hope you come back. Some of you do. It's good to see you again. So we've got a welcome packet for you, and I think you each have those. If you take a quick look inside, there should be a little flyer like this. It's got some things on it there. It's just a place for a name, a phone number, or email. We like to stay in touch. We like to send you a newsletter if you don't mind. We have a newsletter list that we send out every month. And if you will check in with me afterwards, after the service, if you just bring your little slip along, I have a gift for you. I'd like to give you for being a first time visitor here, and I'll just tell you what it is. It's a special gift. It's a Science of Mind magazine. It's full of good stuff. Oh boy, some of us take subscriptions to it. I've been taking subscriptions for 105 years, I think, something like that. I can't remember. But the thing is, we'd like you to know, too, everyone, not just newcomers, but we promise, our ministry team promises you a listening ear and both a prayer or a treatment for anything you feel you might have a need for, anything. Just fill in one of those little yellow slips that should be in the back of this pew in front of you. If there isn't one, there's one somewhere else. But just grab one, fill that in, and it's got some information there, and put it in the offering plate as it goes by. It's safe. It's totally confidential between you and me or any of our other practitioners and ministers. To see, just contact us. It'll get into our hands and no one else's. And if you just want to come and talk to us for a few minutes afterwards, look us up. We have Cheryl Guess, who's a practitioner, sitting in the back there. Cheryl, if you'll stand, and that's one of our practitioners, fully trained to talk to you. We have over here Kathy Prather, way in the back. I'm taking the back and coming to the front. We have other practitioners, one right here in the front, second front row there, Donna. And I'm a practitioner. Reverend Julie's a practitioner. Where's Cheryl? There she is. Oh, Cheryl. It's that curly hair. It gets me every time. You're camouflaged. I can't see you. Yes. And you got to be around when any of these practitioners, especially these three here, do a meditation also, these four. You heard Kathy this morning if you were here. We like that. Okay, so before we get on with singing our next song, I just want to check in on a few of the important announcements we have here. Next week, you know what to do before you come to chapel and before the week gets away from you, Spring forward. Set those clocks ahead. Spring is here. Spring has come. And next week, Reverend Moore Horton is going to be, he's our senior minister. He's off with family business today. He has a topic he's going to be talking about. It's called Dropping the Masks and Bushels. Now, I can't tell you what that's going to be about, but he'll tell you. And right today, join us for potluck. Yeah, potluck right after service. And if you didn't bring something, come on down anyhow. We'll charge you $100 and give you a meal. You'll be fine. We'll put it in a pot. No charge to anyone who comes today. No charge. But we do have something that comes up. After a book sale in March, you're going to have to watch for the dates. And during that period of time, there's going to be what we call Soup for the Soul fundraiser. That's a fun thing to do. On March the 19th, we're going to have what we call a Soup for the Soul. It's chaired by and handled by Sandy Megan and Satya Riversong, and they kind of make that thing work. But if I remember right, we can bring soup, can't we? Who remembers that? Yeah, we can bring soups. But it's what we do is we set it all up, and it's got the bread and everything, and it's $3 a bowl. $3 a bowl. Or if you're generous and you want $100 a bowl, we'd never turn it down. But anytime. However, $3 a bowl, and if you don't have $3, I'll loan it to you. Wait a minute. No, not today. I couldn't. So I'll do it next time. I'll have money for that. Check us with there. Now, our practitioners, they're all here except for one, and she's visiting. That's Ruth Tenike. And I think there's no more announcements unless anyone else has something they want to announce that's important on their minds.
Book sale the last Sunday in March.
We got the date on that. The last Sunday in March is the book sale. And boy, do we have good books for sale. Yeah.
You can donate books or buy books.
Mm-hmm. Either way. Bring your books or buy some more. That's what happens to me. I don't dare bring my books. I keep adding them to keep buying more. Well, anyhow, why don't we stand and sing? What do you say?
Let's do it.
Arian Peter is going to lead us in this song.
All right, this is a song called Peace Like a River. Some of you might know it. We're going to go through all these verses and then end with peace again. Ready?
I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul.
Love like an ocean.
I got love like an ocean. I got love
goodness. Oh my goodness, was that good or was that good? Makes you feel good after singing, you know? But you know what we like to do? About this time in the morning, we just like to settle in again. You know, we had a meditation this morning that settled us down. And this is a time that we like to call our pray-in. We just go within. And so I just invite you to take that breath and go within by closing your eyes if you feel like it, and just listen to these words as we come into this morning's grace, this morning's wonderfulness. I'm going to address this new baby day. I'm going to be fresh and ready, and for us, all of us, I just urge us to come to this morning and consider with me some wonderful words of John Donahue, who wrote in his book of blessings when he said this. He said that all that is eternal in me welcomes the wonder of this day. And I bless the night that nourished my heart. And all that is eternal in me welcomes that wonder of this day. It's that field of brightness that it creates, offering the time for each thing to just arise and illuminate. And he goes on to say something that we can just hold in our breath. He says, "May my mind come alive today to the invisible geography that invites me to new frontiers, to break the dead shells of yesteryears, to risk being disturbed and changed. And then he finishes with, may I have the courage today to live that life that I would love, and to postpone my dreams no longer, but do at last what I came here for, and just waste my heart on fear no more." And so, with these words, I too, as a bringer of the dawn, see the truth. I see the truth of this day, and I know that there's a light that fills all life. And there's one love that nurtures and sustains all life. Your life, my life. And today we enter willingly with a glad, thankful heart into that wonder and the wonderfulness of this morning that holds for us as we live and love forward into all prayer as the right prayer for the moment. You know, there are others all over the city who are meeting, and they're gathered together to pray in their own way. We respect that, we honor that, we support that. They're in churches and temples and centers, maybe tents. They're on byways and highways of life. They're under bridges. And be they of all faiths, whether they be Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, or Jew. Be they any belief that holds life and love so dear that they treat one another as sister and brother. May all that is eternal in them also bless that night which nourished their hearts, their souls. And may they too have the courage today to live the life that they would love, the life they would live and love, and postpone their dreams no longer, and do at last what they awoke and came to their moments to be. And may they waste their hearts on fear no more, as you and I this morning. And I finish this prayer in knowing that my words go out into the listening ear of the universe to come back, return, pressed down, and running over with the fulfilled blessings forevermore. And please say with me these final words of confirmation. And so it is. Now I think it's time for let's do an invocation. I got lost in prayer there. So let's do an affirmation here that is in your program. That'll help us out. In one voice, let us say this: I recognize and I accept that I am made in the image and likeness of perfect love. So I now give voice to the desire of my heart. I am willing to speak my vision of divine love, of divine power, of beauty and creativity. I am willing to be myself fully. I am here to live full out for God. And so it is. Oh, that's great. Now, at this moment in time, we have inspirational readings. It's really wonderful. We're going to have John help us out today. John Eels. He'll be here. Come right up here, John.
Good morning on this warm summer day in March. We won't let it stop us, will we? The title of the reading for today is Growing Our Capacity for Authenticity. And Debbie Ford writes on this subject, the greatest act of courage is to be, and only to be, our own version of who we are, without apology, without excuses, without masks to cover the truth of who we are. We are trained from an early age to present our best face to the world. Instinctively, children alter their behavior to fit in with their peer groups and the expectations of their parents and society. We spend the formative years of our lives editing ourselves. And then at some point as we mature, usually after an experience of great pain, we break through the facade and begin the journey of discovering and delivering our authentic selves. The answer was always within us, like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. Our ability to go home was there all along. We just didn't know it. As I was having a prayer call with my dear friend and prayer partner, Maggie Cole, she shared about a group she was leading and the powerful transformations that were occurring. What is it that you're not praying for? She asked them. A profound question. Scripture says, you have not because you ask not. And I believe we don't ask because we don't know who we are and what it is that we need to truly set us free. When we step into our authenticity, we begin to pray for the things that really matter. The willingness to receive, self-acceptance and compassion, and freedom from addictive thoughts. What we are really seeking is to live our most authentic lives, and therein lies spiritual freedom. And just so we don't run out of affirmations here at Woodland Chapel, here's another one. I drop the mask, I release my egoic need to please others. I embrace the power of my authentic self. Spirit moves through me now, revealing true freedom and true power.
I think we have some more music coming. Thank you, John. Wasn't that great? Yeah.
This is a song I assume many of you will know. It's called Down to the River to Pray. Been around for a long time.
Oh, brothers, let's go down, down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and you shall wear the robe and crown, good Lord, show me the way. Oh, sisters, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Oh, sisters, let's go down, down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and you shall wear the glory crown, good Lord, show me the way. Oh, lovers, let's go down, come on down. Oh, lovers, let's go down, down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and you shall wear the robe and crown, good Lord, show me the way. Oh, sinners, let's go down, come on down. Oh, sinners, let's go down, down in the river to pray.
Oh, thank you, Ari and Peter. I asked them to sing that song. I think every once in a while I have to get my Baptist fix. So I lived in Idaho in my Mormon family in the summer, and then in the winter in Arizona, I went to wherever they would take me, which was the Baptist church, and I loved it. I went forward one time. I mean, nothing like a Baptist preacher to make you want to come forward and be saved and get baptized. And I was 8, and I went forward, and then they came to get me a few days later, and I'd lost my enthusiasm. I hid under the bed, but now, you know, I kind of wish, because I think they baptized in the Colorado River, and I would have loved to have that experience to lean back on, but I didn't. But I think I have glasses here. It's like my house. I can't ever find glasses. Oh, well. I have like 18 pair at home. No, more like 7. But anyway, yeah, thank you so much. And good morning. Oh, Cheryl, yes, thank you. And welcome to those of you who are with us online. We are glad that you are all here. Thank you, Catherine. Yes, we're all about that age. Well, I've been way past that age, but... So this morning we're talking about prayer, and I heard this about members of our congregation. I'm going to tell you, you know, I just said I went to a Baptist church, and there was in this little town in Arizona, and there were like tons of different churches, except no LDS church till I was 12, but there were also equal number of taverns. So it was interesting. And I heard about this members of a congregation who prayed for years that the Lord would do something about this disreputable bar across the street from the church. And so one night the bar was hit by lightning, and it went up in fire and just burned down. And the bar owner promptly sued the church, saying that the congregation's prayers were responsible for the fire. And this church contested the suit. And after hearing the case, the judge said he really didn't know which way to go on this decision. But he said one thing is absolutely clear. The bar owners believe in prayer and the church doesn't. So, yeah. So prayer, complex sometimes, isn't it? So, aside from being a minister and a prayer practitioner, and Don was saying we're all practitioners, we're first practitioners here in Centers for Spiritual Living because we were founded on prayer and then became an organization so we could have some way to gather together, and, you know, we always organize. But after I retired, I volunteered for the CSL prayer ministry. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, Centers for Spiritual Living, if you go on their website, the headquarters of our movement, there is a prayer ministry, powerful prayer ministry, that 24 hours you can request prayer. And also unity, silent unity. We have wonderful prayer opportunities. But when I was volunteering with that, it was like, just tons of prayers would come in, and amazing the things asked for, and the pain in our lives, and the indecision, and the wants, and it was even eye-opening for me, despite having been a prayer practitioner for a long time. So many prayer requests, helps of all kinds, and you know, here at the center we pray, we take prayer requests, and a lot of them. And frankly, I have a lot of prayer requests. I use those prayer ministries all the time. And when I tithe to those prayer ministries because they're there for us when we just need somebody that is going to know something, that's going to know the truth for this. So I use them all the time because I'm a greedy person, but you know, if there's one thing that across all time and cultures, it's been this need to have recognition and help from a higher power. Whether you're sacrificing people or animals, as have been done in the past, or you kneel and pray and ask, or you meditate, or many, many different ways. But across all times, this idea of prayer, we just need prayer, reaching to, see, this other thing is, isn't it interesting, that there was a recognition, it's built into us, because it's the way it is, that there is a higher power. And people have always recognized that, and you don't have to call it anything or everything, and it doesn't really matter what we call it. It does matter how we know it. And you know, in my classes, if you're taking a class with me, the first thing I will ask you is to write down your concept of God. And then at the end of the class, I will ask you to do that too. And hopefully there has been some evolution within you. And I don't care what that is. I mean, I do care because I think it makes a difference. But I want us to recognize our concept of God, because whatever we believe about this higher power, this source of our being, this is inevitable, which in truth we cannot get our finite minds totally around. We can experience it, though. That's the wonderful thing. We can experience it even though we can't get our intellectual minds around it. And it's probably just as well. We do try, though, don't we? And normally we create God in our own image. Don't we? Think about it. We create God in our own image. So whether it's your God is the God of the Sistine Chapel, a father figure, a judge, someone watching you every single moment, oh, that is so uncomfortable. Or a Santa Claus God, or a God who controls all things. A beloved friend, a loving presence, or something you cannot even define. See, this makes a difference. And today we're exploring prayer. And let me say this. This is kind of a little scary. But every thought we hold is a prayer. Every thought we hold is a prayer. Because, think about this. We think thoughts often enough, they become beliefs, don't they? And we know, whether it's psychology or scripture, it is done unto us as we believe. And so our thoughts matter, and every thought we have is really a prayer. So it behooves us to pay attention to our thoughts, doesn't it? So before I found Centers for Spiritual Living and began this work, and started to pray for others. I didn't really pray growing up, until I was like in college probably, and then honest to God, you guys, I prayed for good grades that I didn't deserve. And did you ever bargain? I promise this time I will really do it different. Just get me through this time. I mean, those were my prayers. Honestly, the real depth of character there. But that was because I approached life in a way that I didn't believe anything would stand in my way. Growing up kind of on a farm and an only child and no brothers to be better than me, I didn't know that I couldn't have or be what I wanted. And so I proceeded in life this way. And because I didn't know that, it always worked, and the most amazing doors would open. Sometimes looking back, I think the most outrageous doors would open. But that was because I actually expected them to do. Why on earth would anything on planet Earth stand in our way? And I also, by the way, wanted all this assumed for everybody else. And then I found Centers for Spiritual Living, and I began to study. And I began to learn about prayer. And then I got in deep trouble because I began to pray for others, and I began to want for others. They would ask for prayer requests. And then I would have goals that were beyond kind of the reach. But now I was beginning to know something. Knowing something is like being a sophomore. You think it's big trouble. And so I suffered on this, and I knew intellectually that I did not believe in this God that I had kind of grown up with and not paid a lot of attention to, but it was there. I worried about it sometimes, but I didn't pay a lot of attention, but it was always there in the background. And so I knew that our prayer treatment worked, and so if you've taken learned Ernest Holmes or any of the New Thought teachers, methods are tools to get us to a place. But I would start out, I am one with God, and that's how our prayer treatment starts. I mean, there is one power, and I am one with that. Oh, yes. Move through that real quick. And I want. The third step is we affirm what is true that we're praying for. Spend a lot of time there. And so I began to pray like that, and I began to pray really intense, and like I had to make it happen because I knew it could. Did that happen to any of you guys? Do you just pray and you're just so hard and you're making it happen? And when I realized I was back in that old God of mine, that if I just did it hard enough and right enough. And so that's difficult, but what I realized in doing that, I became very uncomfortable and distressed and upset, and it wasn't working, and yet I believe this because it makes total sense to me, and it was really painful. But guess what? The good part, it was really painful. Because in that, I know now that my soul was calling me to something deeper. See, once you begin on this spiritual path, you will not be left alone. Have you found that to be true? You will not be left alone, because what we're saying is we want to be awake, we want to be spiritual, we want to have a relationship with this divine presence. And it hears that. So anything that's going to get in the way of that is going to be cleared out. So I realize now that difficulty, see, when we come up against difficulties, know that something is working to clear us out. And it took me quite a while, and there's a little book by Ernest Holmes that I would read and read and read. And by the way, I was a practitioner and minister when I was still going through all this demanding still of the universe. I didn't promise anything, I knew I wasn't going to fulfill that, but I was still doing that. And it was difficult. Oh my gosh, it was so stressful until I realized what it is that we're teaching. I finally got to the core of that. That there is that which is calling us to the experience of our oneness, to that divine, to the mystical presence. To remember who we are. To be our authentic self, as John read. It's calling us to a remembrance, and we have forgotten. And all those little things that are about our forgetting, they will feel so difficult until we wake up. It's like a little alarm clock's going off early in the mornings when we're not ready to get up. So prayer. So I see prayer in two general types. Prayer of hope. And hope I had to, because you got to feel for what hope was. And I had to look it up. And it said to cherish a desire with anticipation, to want something to happen or to be true. You see, the little difference in that, prayers of hopes are ones of supplication. We want it to be true. But when we're saying we want it to be true, what is it we're believing right now that it isn't true? Because we want it to be true. And what do we know? What do scriptures tell us? It is done unto us as we believe. So we believe it is not true, so we get more of the true. The prayers of hopes. But all prayers are a way of trying to connect with the divine. And I am not saying that I am against any form of prayer. I'm just talking about what I know about prayer. So, prayers of supplication. Perhaps we seek peace or simply to find favor. We ask something out there according to the God of our definition. And we hope that it is heard. And this is kind of a form of separation in a way, very subtle when you examine it. If we can find favor, or perhaps God will bestow this on us. But there's always that which is bestowing. Which, if you think about that, is separate. For someone to bestow it it's just a separate. So, prayers of faith. Prayers of faith are like knowing. Sometimes, when we don't even have to pray. We just know. We just know. And I think that's where our journey of awakening takes us. As hope is praying for rain, faith is bringing an umbrella. So it's like this, you guys, with prayers of faith. So these two brothers, it was nighttime, and they were spending the night with their grandparents. And they were getting ready for bed, and they went in and knelt down by their bed and to say their prayers before they went to sleep. And the youngest one began to praying at the top of his lungs really, really loud. And he said, I pray for a new bicycle and an iPad and an Xbox. And his older brother leaned over and said, why are you talking so loud? God isn't deaf. He said, yeah, but Grandma is. Prayers of faith. We know how to do it. So when we hear something that's true, it's like we just know it when it's true for us. And I think there's many paths up the mountain. And we all are at different places in our life, you know, and in our own lives. What we may believe at one time, we don't believe at another. But when we hear something that's true for where we are, for what we need, we know that it is true. And what really grounded me in faith, when I really needed to be grounded, I knew, but remember that quote, I know, but help my unbelief. I believe, but help my unbelief. That's kind of where I was, and I always, these scripture quotes, ask and you shall you receive, in Matthew, I think it's in Matthew. Seek and you shall find, well, it's in two places. Knock and it shall be open to you. I believe that as a contract. I believe that if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move mountains, and the mountains in your life, not like Mount Hood. You can move the mountains in your life. And I would lean on that. I said, okay, this is a contract. I feel this is a contract. I really felt that. So for me, I was not asked that point in my life, you know, I ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be open to you. Okay, so I don't believe in anything. Now I've come to this place in my life where I had to get rid of all of the old that I didn't believe in anymore. And I'm asking to know some truth. Does God really exist? Is there really an afterlife? And so the way things come to me are in books. And I'm sitting on a bench at Portland State, waiting for an appointment. And somebody had left this book by Raymond Moody on the bench. And many of you read many Raymond Moody's books. And I began to read that. And it was like the light filled my body. It was like that experience, if you've ever had it, where the light just fills your body and you know and you know and you know that this is the message. And it changed my life and it changed my belief. And then shortly after that, I walked into a church of religious science, which is what Centers for Spiritual Living used to be called. I didn't know what the heck what this was. And the minute that minister opened my mouth, I'm like, oh my God, I am home. And I did not know there were other people like me that thought like I did. You're shaking your head. You know what that's like. For your father, and you know, we can say source instead of father, but I tend to, you know, quote accurately when I can. Your father knows what you need before you even ask. Before we even asked. It's our soul calling. And faith is not praying to a God, but praying from the realization of the presence within us. And you have to think about that for a while, maybe. It is not praying to a God, but praying from the realization of the divine within us. Because that which created the universe is everywhere present. So it has to be in us if we exist. And so all these qualities of that divine already exist in us, and it is like just releasing it. There's a Robert Browning, a poet, many of you are familiar with, said it this way. There is an innermost center in us all where truth abides in fullness. And to know rather consists in opening out a way where the imprisoned splendor may escape, than effecting entry from a light supposed to be without. There is always that divine presence in us. And because we can experience love, because we can experience peace, and because we know that that is what we desire, it is because it is already in us. And if we didn't have it already in us, we could not desire it. We could not know it. We could not fathom it. And so the prayers are really about releasing what is in us, because what is within us is the power to be fully everything we are meant to be. Eric Butterworth says it this way: prayer is not something we do for or to God. It is an experience of our own God potential. Prayer does something to the mind of the one praying. It does not do anything to God. We can't add anything to God, to the presence, to the whatever you want to call it. It's hard to come up with words for that which we can't define anyway, isn't it? And prayer is a way to transform our beliefs. You know, about how it works, how our soul call, how that's always trying to awaken us, particularly when we say yes to a spiritual path or to any path of seeking. There is that which, in its right moment, shares with us what we are willing to understand. When our children were young and we were growing up, we used to spend Thanksgiving with our cousins in Hermiston, or they would come spend Thanksgiving with us. And so one Thanksgiving, we were in Hermiston, and they had this little cool thing going on downtown where you had these bucks. I don't know where you got them from, but you could use them as money, and it was a fun thing to do. So my cousin Ann and I went downtown and went shopping, and of course ended up in a bookstore. And I saw this book. Now, I had begun to be a seeker. I didn't know what I was seeking yet, but I was discovering things. And so in this bookshelf was this book called Joy's Way by Joy Brew. And I took it home and I that night, and I read, and I was like, oh, wow. And he's a medical doctor, but he worked also with energy and chakras, and I began to learn that stuff about energy and the energy that comes through us and healing power. Well, as it happens, on Thanksgiving Day, our son had appendicitis. So, and he was in a great deal of pain and more pain as the day went on, and we figured out, we better go down to the hospital with appendicitis. And of course, the doctor came in. But before the doctor came in, my son is laying there on this bed, emergency room bed or whatever it was, and I had read this book the night before. And he's in pain, and no mother likes to see their kid in pain. So I, in that moment of love, laid my hands on his shoulders, and I felt this energy just flow through me, and he looked up at me, and the pain was just totally gone. And we were both like stunned, because I just read that the night before. And then the doctor came in. He was grumpy because it was Thanksgiving Day. But I thought to myself, well, you did go to medical school. What do you expect? So I thought, oh no, Shan's not in pain now. They're not going to do the surgery, and oh, what? He's not going to think he's got and I began to panic. So I thought, I got to tell the doctor what I did. So this is Eastern Oregon, you guys. Come on. So I did. And he just looked at me he was grumpy when he came in. He was grumpier then. And but they went ahead with the surgery, and that was all I cared about. I didn't care what he thought of me. Some kind of like weird kook, maybe. And so as Shan is in his room recuperating, and I'm spending the time down there with him, and I thought, okay, wow, we saw how it worked. And to this day, he remembers that. It's the only thing that I bring up that he has faith in his mother. So I thought and I had read in that book also, here's what I read. If you don't understand this, don't work with it. Yeah. It really worked. And I didn't understand it, of course. I just read it the night before. And so I think, okay, I want him to heal really fast. So I went and laid my hands on his shoulders and to feel the energy, and I did feel the energy. I felt the energy go out of me. I became so weak, I couldn't stand. I had to sit down, and I became sick. Because here was the difference. The day before, it was in a moment of love. I wasn't thinking. accept healing and love. The next day it was all about ego. I'm going to do this healing again. And despite what the book said, don't do things you don't understand. So all the energy, we do have energy fields in us. We are little energy fields. Every cell in us are full of electrons and all sorts of good stuff. But the difference was allowing the flow, and I understood it later, come from that divine place. The flow of life, the flow of chi, the prana, whatever we choose to call it, that life energy, that divine presence in all of us. It flowed through me. The next day I was using my own energy and it was very limited. You see, and that's what prayer does for us, or should do for us. Open us up to that divine flow, to that divine presence, so that all that God is fully expressed in who we are. And we have a way of doing. Oh, and you're going to say to me, well, if prayer works, why doesn't it always work? So I know you've heard this metaphor before. The prayer is like electricity, and in some ways it is. I guess it's an energy field. It's something, it takes us to an energy place. But electricity existed way before anyone ever had a clue that there was ever such a thing as electricity. Human beings did not invent electricity. We discovered it. And that's the process of waking up in our own soul. It's already always been there. It's about us coming to a realization of it. So electricity has always existed. And we can use it. And we can flip on the light. But we have to flip on the light. We can't get mad at it if it doesn't just, well, I don't know, now you can just walk in a room, can't you? And we have some friends that he really loves all this stuff, and he hooked it up where he just says, Siri, turn on the lights. Siri, turn on the heat. He had it all set up. Have you guys done that? Yeah, well, anyway, he had it all set up, but there was a password. So it wasn't just Siri, it was word that he used. And so he was gone for the weekend, and his wife didn't know how to do that, and she'd sit there yelling every single word that she can think of to try to get the heat to go on and everything to work because it's all set. You know how that works? It's just fascinating. I was with my daughter. She said, Siri, find this. And the television goes through and finds everything. I consider that, you guys, a miracle, which is a definition of miracle. There's a way it works. It just seems like it. So anyway, but we can have a short circuit. I have this thing that makes my signal better. What do they call it? Booster? And it wasn't working. And first thing, you guys, check the plug-in. So I did check it, and the light on the strip was on. And I thought, oh no, it's not working. So it's not working. It's not working. It's broken. It's not working. And I went and got another electric cord. I thought maybe that electric cord's broken. No, that didn't work. And so then I actually went and I thought, couldn't be the plug-in because it looks plugged in, but it wasn't fully plugged in. And so when I pushed it in, lo and behold, it all went on. And I think that is a great metaphor for why prayer doesn't work sometimes. Or always, and I just want to close with this, because I think I've kept you too long as it is when we pray for something, we really want the experience of something. And maybe we'll cover that in another talk, because there's so much more to this. But I just want to let us come together in prayer. And I'm going to use the tools that Ernest Holmes gave us. So join with me. First step is the realization that there is only one power, one presence, one infinite source, undefinable, but the source of all life and the source of all good. And the recognition that we are one with that source, because it cannot be otherwise. And so when we sit in this space of knowing that there is one power and that we are one with it, we can come to the realization that all the good there is already there for us. And we can claim that good because it is our birthright. So I know for each one of us today that we are one with that power and presence. And we are on a soul journey of awakening, and it's an exciting journey. And everything that happens, I know, I bless it because it is good and very good. And then I just give thanks, and in giving thanks, we affirm something that we have been given, that we know. So I give thanks, and I let it be, and I release it knowing that it is already done, and so it is.
All right, we're going to play a song that we wrote just a couple weeks ago, actually. It's called Be Curious. We wrote it. We also play up at Unity of Beaverton. And we wrote this song for a service up there and decided that we want to share it with you today.
Places I don't see.
they wonderful? Oh, thank you. Thank you for making the trek to Salem to be with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
So, Julie, that was a great talk. You see me sit there, I was transfixed. I usually take a nap when somebody's. I didn't take a nap.
I was
Thank you.
watching to see if you were
Yeah, you're
napping.
looking right at me. Oh, so what do we do now? This is our special time, right? This is our time when we get an opportunity to show our appreciation for having a place to come together and be that part that supports this entire thing in our spiritual home. So we're going to ask the people to come forward. Let's see, how about Simon helping us? Will you bring your mama along, Simon? And your co-partner right here, Michelle, the president of the board, she wants to be a part of this, you know, she makes sure. And we're going to sing a song while they do the concert. So go forth and come back, press down and running over. So Julie will help us do the thing. Yeah, in the program, there's a saying that we...
There's another affirmation, you guys. But affirmations, what are they doing? To remind us of the truth.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Divine love.
as me, blesses and multiplies
All that I am.
all that I have, and all that I circulate.
So let's circulate. Thank you.
I am grateful, I am grateful for abundance in my life. I am grateful, I am grateful for abundance in my life. I am grateful, I am grateful for abundance in my life. I am grateful, I am grateful for abundance in my life.
Oh, let us not let that ever escape our realization, recognition, and experience that we are so grateful for all that comes into our life. The abundance of all the good that is always there, ready to just be opened up and take a peek, and there it is. Prayer, whatever it may be, or just speaking our word that I am grateful. A grateful heart is a receiving heart. So I want to say we are so grateful that you have decided to share with your abundance and help us become this place that is your spiritual home. On my very next breath, I'm just going to ask you to say, and so it is. Okay. So we do have a blessing for ourselves, do we not?
The power, the prayer of protection.
That's it.
That's it.
Blesses us.
All right, together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And let us stand and know that peace is possible, and it begins with us.